was working with Flanner House, but you could tell he had those entrepreneurial juices that were something different.
He had a very good heart, and he was just kind and loving and caring, and he would take care of any and everybody.
He had a lot of different ideas and approaches, but he believed in certain things, I think, and one of them was to stay connected in every aspect, politically, in the community, educationally. So he had this toolbox that most entrepreneurs, I guess, seek to have. Gene kind of came here with it.
I first met Gene back in the early 80s when I first came to Indianapolis. And I was fortunate enough to meet Henry and Beverly Gaither, who was involved in city-county council race. And Gene was one of the advisors to their campaign. And he was just a well of wisdom and guidance on that campaign. And we did, even though we lost the campaign, we surprised a lot of people.
He was very easy to work with. He always knew what he wanted to do. It was not like, we have this thing, what do we do with it now? He always already had thought through what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it.
Gary, who's longtime friend, business associate, was starting up TOC. Gene was looking to gravitate more going toward the retirement side and divesting out of business. And so I had actually contacted Gene about possibly meeting with Gary and opportunities that existed there, which came to fruition.
Honestly, I look back and I wish I knew him sooner because he had a wealth of understanding. And it's not only just from a business standpoint, from a personal aspect as well.
There was just an air to him, Dr. McFadden, it just, I remember that Ebony magazine had him as like one of the top eligible bachelors in the country. I don't think I made top eligible bachelor in my high school,
From a humanitarian side of things, he was extremely, I always saw him as always wanting to do well, always wanting to help, always wanted to give back to the people, and I saw that even from a business side with him. He was always wanting to help. On Gene's back from Detroit, he called me up and said, Craig, he said, I want you to have lunch with me at the homeless shelter. And I told him, I said, Gene, I'll be happy to do that, but I think I'm going to take my wife Lisa with us because I think she'd like to see it. He said, okay, that'd be great. We went with Gene then. He took us to the ministry and we did a tour of it, my wife and I. Amazing, the work that Pastor Rhonda's done there. Saw why Gene had his level of commitment and involvement with it. And so we were sitting down to have lunch. During the lunch, I just asked Pastor Rhonda, I said, so Pastor Rhonda, what can we do to help you? And then we were able to set Pastor Rhonda up in the ministry with what's now called Shepherd's Pathway, and put them then on a solid ground where we had a facility now that we had ownership of. And Gene and I stayed involved with it over the years, and we've still, to this day, we're still working all the time trying to improve Pastor Rhonda's situation to serve the homeless in the community.
I believe that through Pastor Rhonda, God did some miraculous things with Mr. McFadden. He would come through and he had a relationship with the people. He didn't just come through as though he was some big to-do person or that he was better than anyone else. He fit in with people. He would talk to them and he would talk to the kids. He'd ask them what their needs were. He'd also ask them what did they think their potential on life was.
Well, Gene was a little different because he was so he was so big that in many cases he had his own brand. There was a great opportunity that eventually presented itself, and it was one with Honda right before Honda got ready to move to Indiana, where I knew that Gene was one of only about 3 or 4 MBEs in the state that would have the capacity and also the expertise to be able to provide the solution for the company. Whether it was him investing in the IRMSDC at that time or him investing his time and efforts into Expo, he was very involved politically. He talked to politicians. He was very close to a lot of members of the Black Caucus. He gave money to support a lot of races in particularly Marion County that were going to be very influential and very helpful for other businesses and also for his community. And Gene gave back. Gene felt that he was very blessed, and as a result, he made sure that he was able to give back to the community.
We were going into Ghana quite frequently. We were going into Senegal. We went, and he was trying to do business in Africa. He was very attached to Africa. He wanted to help, and he wanted to do, and he went out there, and he was giving money out to people who needed to do some humanitarian work out there.
I'm known by the name of Yosef Al-Beka. I'm from Okera village, Lilim Sub-County, Utuha district. We sang the Dr. Jean and his wife Dali. We are very sorry he had died, but we sang him for bringing us the borehole. The borehole has now improved this village with a lot of medicine.
I am Winnie Agualo from Lemai village and sub-county Tuboy, county Kalaki, district Kabermaido. I want to thank Dr. Jene Nefenden and his wife Daline Nefenden for at least building for us the borehole. We have improved, we have got clean water.
Gene never lost his help trying to help those that they were at the end of their rope. They're living on the street. You know, they're dependent on other people to feed them and take care of them. And to see Gene's, not only his personal commitment, but then his commitment to getting others like myself and my wife involved.
I always saw him as always wanting to do well, always wanting to help, always wanted to give back to the people, you know. And I saw that even from a business side with him. He was always wanting to help.
When Gene left us, there was a void, and in many cases, we just don't see people like him come along too often. Hopefully this award will be something that other people will strive to achieve to win it, but also will strive to achieve to live and to continue a path that he blazed so that they would have the opportunity to follow.
And you know, his idea about doing some good came out. I think a good example was Gene opened up a restaurant over on College. It was far more than that. You know, he wanted to have good food and a great hamburger and all, but many people were not aware of another aspect of that business, which was all about trying to provide an atmosphere for inner city kids to learn something about the culinary arts.
A recipient of this award needs to be somebody that is truly integrated into the fabric of the community, whether it's the business community, the neighborhood, or just being a good person. And those are the ways that I would describe Gene McFadden and anyone that should be worthy of that award.
That none of us make ourselves, you know, and none of us are successful in business unless God is there, you know, and God has placed a lot of good people, smart people in my life, and that's why I've been able to experience the kinds of successes in many different businesses that I've been in.